Hello everyone. So the next I will be discussing about is the central neural system, or it is also called as the central nervous system. Central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord, and it is referred to as the central because it combines the information from the entire body and coordinates activity across the whole organism. So this is about the central neural system. So first I will be discussing about is the nervous system, then what are the two parts of the nervous system, and then we will discuss in detail about the central nervous system. So nervous system, it is the system which is of a complex network of neurons that is specialized to carry the messages. For example, the nervous system consists of the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves. So from the brain, it will carry the messages to the spinal cord and then to all the parts of the body. So the complexity of the nervous system increases as we move towards the higher animals. It is the command of our body. It regulates the body system and it allows us to experience the environment. So this is the main role of the nervous system. Now, the nervous system has been divided into two parts, that is the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. Now, if I talk about the central nervous system, which is our main focus here, so it's composed of two things, that is the brain, which is being depicted here, and the spinal cord. So these are the two parts, and it contains the relay neurons, which is also called as the interneurons. Now there are peripheral nervous system as well. So the peripheral nervous system composed of these three nerves, and it contains sensory neurons and the motor neurons, but here our main focus is on the central nervous system. So we will be discussing the central nervous system in much more detail. Now the central nervous system, as it was being depicted in the previous diagram as well, that it has been further divided into the brain and the spinal cord. Now I will be talking about the brain in detail and then the spinal cord. The next we will be discussing is about the parts of the brain. So the brain has been divided into following parts. Now what are these parts? Forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So these are the three parts in which the human brain has been divided. Now first I will be talking about the forebrain, which is one of the largest part of the brain, and it is the interior part of the brain. So the forebrain parts include cerebrum, hypothalamus and thalamus. So these are the three parts in which this is being divided. Now what is the function of the forebrain, which is considered as the largest part of the brain? It controls the reproductive functions, body temperature, emotions, hunger and sleep. So these are all the functions of the forebrain. The fact about the forebrain is that it is largest among the forebrain is the cerebrum. So it has been divided into further parts, but out of these three parts, the largest is the cerebrum. And it is the largest part of the vertebrate brain as well. So this is a fact about this forebrain. Now the midbrain, which is the smallest and the central part of the brain, it has been further divided into two parts, that is the tectum and tegmentum. So these are the two parts about this. The last part which we will be discussing here is about the hindbrain. So it is one of the lower part of the brain, and it is composed of cerebellum, medulla and pons. So cerebellum, I have shown that in the diagram itself. So it has been divided into these three parts. Now what is the function of this hindbrain? So the three regions of the hindbrain coordinates all the processes that is necessary for the survival. They will include the breathing, heartbeat, sleep, wakefulness, and motor learning. So this was about the hindbrain. So this was all about the brain. That brain has been divided into three parts. We have discussed the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain, and we have discussed some of the facts about these and what are these composed of. We have discussed their functions as well. So this was. Now I will talk about is the spinal cord, which is the main part of the central nervous system. So the spinal cord, it is a cylindrical bundle. For example, in the figure where they were being categorized as central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system, the spinal cord piece was being depicted there. So there was a brain and the cylindrical bundle of nerves which was called as the spinal cord, and it is associated with tissues enclosed within the spine, and it connects all the parts of the body to the brain. It is an extension of the brain and is surrounded by vertebral bodies that form the spinal column. So the central structure of the spinal cord are made up of gray matter, that is the nerve bodies, and external or surrounding tissues, that is made up of the white matter. Now it begins in the continuation with the medulla and extend downwards. So it will be extending downwards with several nerves that are being spread all around the body. And it is being surrounded by the membranes called as the meninges. The spinal cord, it is concerned with the spinal reflex actions and the conduction of the nerve impulses to and from the brain. So this is what is the spinal cord. Now this is a diagram of the spinal cord which is depicting the nerves here. So there are four different colors in which the various nerves have been depicted. So there is a cervical segment which consists of cervical nerves, then thoracic nerves, lumbar nerves, and the scaphoidal nerve. Now within the spinal cord, there are total 30 segments. 30 segments, and that further belong to the four sections which are being displayed in the figure here. So these are the four sections of the spinal cord. Now, so there are 8 cervical segments. So these transmit. So what this does is it transmit the signals. It transmit the signals from to the areas of the head, neck, shoulders, and arms. And the 12 thoracic segments which transmit the signals from and to the parts of the arms and the interior and posterior chest and the abdominal areas. Then there are in this there is also a 5 lumbar segments. I think that point is missed here. So this consists of what this does is this transmits signals from the leg to the feet and some of the pelvic organs. Next is the 5 cervical segments. This is it. So they transmit the signal to the lower back and pelvic organs and genital areas and some areas in the legs and the feet. The last, which is located at the bottom of the spinal cord. So this is all about the central nervous system. These are some of the references.